Coming your way on today's Philadelphia Eagles Now, Chase Sr. here with you. Behind the scenes, have the Philadelphia Eagles made a secret and big change to how they go about their offensive game planning? We'll get into that here coming up on the show, but first, I'm getting close to 140,000 subscribers. What did you think that I meant? Come on now. We're 197 people away from 140,000 subs right here on Eagles Now. Let's continue to build the empire, and what we give you daily Eagles coverage right here on YouTube that's insightful, informative, entertaining, thought-provoking, where you have a voice. And look, if you hate the Cowboys and you love the Birds, that right there is a reason to hit that sub button. Let's go and let's talk some Eagles. And as always, thank you so much to all of the real ones and the legends who watch this show. Really appreciate your continued support. This man here to my right, he is the topic of today's program. Is he responsible for the Eagles' offensive turnaround? Because visually to the eye, I have really liked what I've seen from this Eagles offense in the last two games. And some people might say, Chase, the Eagles lost against the Los Angeles Chargers. Jalen Hurts turned it over 5 times. But from a concept standpoint, from a scheme point of view, with some of the play calling and the play designs, I was really encouraged with what I saw then, and then the Eagles continued to implement those things against the Las Vegas Raiders, leading to a 31-0 win. This guy right here is Scot Loeffler. He is the Eagles quarterbacks coach. He was hired this offseason by Nick Sirianni. Jalen Hurts just got done speaking with the media, which, by the way, is a good indication that he's going to play on Saturday against Washington with that ankle injury and that it's not that serious. And Hurts, who obviously keeps a lot of things close to the vest, spoke glowingly of Scot Loeffler and said, hopefully we can keep him around. Such a smart football mind, Hurts added, and he's really been able to help this offense. Has he especially helped this offense over the last couple of games? That's the mystery we're trying to solve here on the show. Now, Scot Loeffler, this offseason when we were at the NFL Combine, the news broke that he was going to replace Doug Nussmeier as the Eagles quarterbacks coach. Nussmeier was the Eagles quarterbacks coach last year. He is the father of Garrett Nussmeier, the LSU quarterback who is going to get drafted in April's NFL draft. And Nussmeier followed Kellen Moore to the New Orleans Saints. Nussmeier went from quarterbacks coach with the Eagles to offensive coordinator with the Saints, even though Kellen is still calling the plays. But they have worked with one another with the Chargers and the Cowboys, and they go back a long ways. And so the Eagles had a couple of primary spots to fill on the offensive coaching staff. Offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach, run game coordinator, which I think has been an underrated loss this year. And Loeffler has a wealth of experience throughout his coaching career. And you can kind of see that and sense that with how he talks to Hurts on the sideline and with what Hurts said today. He was the head coach at Bowling Green from 2019 through 2024. And then other notable experience in Philadelphia, he was actually the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach at Temple University in North Philly. Happened to be wearing the Temple polo today, class of 2015, what up, back in 2011. He played quarterback at Michigan collegiately from 1993 to 1996. A shoulder injury had curtailed and ended his playing career. So right after his college career, he joined the staff of legendary Michigan head coach Lloyd Carr. And early in his coaching career, Scot Loeffler helped to develop Tom Brady and Brian Griese when he was getting his coaching career started, mostly with their throwing mechanics, and he was a part of the staff that won the national championship, I believe, in 1996. And you look at his career history. He begins with Michigan, student assistant, 1996-97, and this resume really is a classic coaching resume where it takes a long time to get to a really good position, and you have to go all across the country, and it requires multiple steps. Then he stays with Michigan, grad assistant, 98-99, Central Michigan, quarterbacks coach 2000-2001, goes back to Michigan, quarterbacks coach there from 2002 to 2007, stays in Michigan becomes the Lions quarterbacks coach in 2008, goes back to college, Florida 2009, 2010, quarterbacks coach there. Then he starts calling plays for Temple. He's the OC and quarterbacks coach in 2011. Goes from Temple to Auburn, OC quarterbacks coach. Virginia Tech 2013 to 2015, OC quarterbacks coach. Boston College 2016 to 2018, OC QB's coach. Bowling Green becomes head coach there. Did some great things, and now he's with the Birds. Here's the Eagles.com write-up on Scot Loeffler. Inheriting an offense that ranked 99th in points per game and a defense that finished 125th in points allowed per game, Loeffler directed a turnaround that led Bowling Green to its first back-to-back bowl game appearances since 2014-2015. Under Loeffler's leadership, the Falcons produced 3 straight seasons with win total improvements from 2021 through 2023, while registering consecutive 7-win campaigns from 2023 to 2024. Now, some people might write that off and say, it's not that impressive. We're talking about Bowling Green State University. And the big thing with Loeffler, whether it's been in college or him as a coordinator or as a head coach in college, he's called plays before. And he has a lot of play calling experience. And so a few weeks ago after the Bears game, when I said Nick Sirianni might have to make a change at offensive coordinator just to light a fire beneath this unit, I had mentioned Loeffler as an option internally to take over play calling, in addition to Parks Frazier, who's the pass game coordinator. And with Loeffler, we saw some things that he did at Bowling Green State with Harold Fannin, who's been one of the top rookies in the 2025 draft class, be implemented with this Eagles offense at the tight end position. And this clip has gone viral on social media in the aftermath of that Eagles rout against the Raiders, where Bowling Green, with Scot Loeffler calling plays and designing the offense, ran a same play for Harold Fannin that the Eagles ran with Dallas Goedert in that Raiders game. We also saw this in the Buccaneers game earlier this year, where Jalen Hurts is in the shotgun, fakes the handoff, and then you see Dallas Goedert here, in this case, in motion from right to left, where he goes behind the offensive line. Hard for the defense to see him there. And after Hurts fakes the handoff, shovel pitch to Goedert, and he's able to use his yak ability to run into the end zone. The Bowling Green play on the top, you actually had Harold Fannin on the left side in motion from left to right, quarterback in the shotgun, and you had some action in the backfield with a running back there as well. The pitch went to Fannin. He was able to score a touchdown. So these plays, both resulting in touchdowns for the tight end. If you remember, and obviously I do because I grew up watching Andy Reid football, Andy Reid, and still, even with Travis Kelce, a big fan of the shovel pitch with some motion and some window dressing pre-snap, post-snap to kind of give the defense a couple of things to look at, some motion to get the defense going one way, and then the shovel pitch to the tight end or the running back. That was a staple for Andy Reid with the Eagles, and it's been a staple for Andy Reid with the Chiefs. And so the Eagles have implemented that this year. Was that the influence of Scot Loeffler here? Now, there's more that we can point to, which points to Loeffler maybe having more say with what the Eagles offense has been doing this season, but also recently with this Eagles offense starting to find a groove. What else has he had a say in offensively? That's coming up next here on the show. Don't go anywhere. If you want to be informed, that's just what we do here on the show. At least that's the big goal. Let's first, though, get to our sponsor. This episode of Philadelphia Eagles now brought to you by PrizePicks. It's the holiday season, the best time of year for sports, bowl games, basketball matchups, playoff pushes. It's all happening at once. While you and I are out here making decisions every day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, which game to watch, there is one place where it feels good to be right. And that place is PrizePicks. On PrizePicks, how you play is up to you. If you want flexibility, choose FlexPlay, where you can get paid even if one of your picks misses. And if you want the biggest payouts, go for the power play. No matter your play, PrizePicks is a great way to put your takes to the test. You can get your picks in less than 60 seconds. I also love how straightforward PrizePicks is. I don't have to spend a lot of time trying to calculate my payouts. PrizePicks makes it easy with their payout multipliers, whether it's a simple 3x, a big 2000x. PrizePicks makes it easy to understand how much you can win, and it's available all across America. This is how it works. 3-pick power play for Saturday's game. Dallas Goedert more than a half rushing or receiving touchdown. He has 9 of them, career high already. Jake Moody more than 1.5 field goals made. Saquon Barkley more than 77.5 rushing yards. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use the code CLNS. Get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. So, continuing on this, there's been a lot of chatter that Loeffler has also had some say in red zone play calls, red zone play design. This would make sense for Loeffler to handle red zone duties. And just to give you some insight here, for an offensive coaching staff, a lot of different coaches have different duties. For instance, Jeff Stoutland isn't just the offensive line coach. He's the run game coordinator. So he helps to design some of the running plays that the Eagles have. Press Taylor, the pass game coordinator, will help to design some of the passing concepts. Some coaches will just focus on third down plays. And so when you have an inexperienced offensive coordinator in Kevin Patullo, it would make sense once you get in the red zone to kind of lean on Scot Loeffler to have some say in the red zone play calls, play designs, and what the Eagles' philosophy and strategy is once they get inside the red area. And this year, I know it's been a frustrating season for the Eagles. They have had, from week 1 on, the number 1 ranked red zone offense in the NFL, meaning when they get inside the 20, they score a touchdown. Very nice. How much? About 69% of the time. Against the Raiders, the Eagles ran their lowest rate of hitches and highest rate of crossers of any game this season. This was something that we had talked about a lot, how the Eagles were running so many hitches. Not only was their hitch rate the highest in the NFL, and it still is, but they had 3 players running the highest percentage, their highest percentages of hitch routes in the NFL, with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert. The hitch is a fine route, but when you're running them time and time again, it does become predictable. So what were we talking about here on the show? Don't run as many hitches, be less predictable, be more creative, show different looks, tax the defense, force them to cover every blade of grass, target the middle area of the field, and run more crossers. Well, of any game this year against Las Vegas, lowest rate of hitches, highest rate of crossers. And what did it lead to? The most efficient game for any quarterback in the National Football League in the 2025 season. The most efficient game for Jalen Hurts in his entire career. 12 of 15, 175 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, a quarterback rating of 154.9. And I'll say this. With what the Eagles have done against the Chargers and against the Raiders, visually with our eyes, we have seen adjustments. We have seen some changes. What we've seen visually has been noticeably different from what we were seeing earlier in the year. And what I love from this offense against the Raiders and also against the Chargers, obviously with this note here, it's against the Raiders. But we've seen these similar concepts against both these two teams in the Eagles' last 2 games. Against Las Vegas, Hurts, sharp, decisive, efficient. Dynamic with his legs. We saw under-snap efficiency. Smart, creative, modern-day concepts. The pass game and the run game, balanced. You know what Scot Loeffler also did at Bowling Green? Ran his quarterback. What have the Eagles done the last 2 games? They're running Jalen Hurts more. So if this is the case, keep it up. And if some people have a problem with Scot Loeffler having more of a say in what the Eagles are doing offensively, there's literally nothing wrong with that, and there's nobody to blame. Putting together a coaching staff is having a collaborative approach. It's leaning on multiple people and a coaching staff to try to maximize the offensive unit. Vic Fangio does the same thing on defense with the likes of Christian Parker, who's his DB's coach, and other positional coaches like Clint Hurt along the defensive line. There are reasons why it's called a collaborative approach, why it's called a coaching staff, and why there are coaches who coach multiple positions on each side of the ball. So it's not a problem that the Eagles are doing this. It's actually smart that you're using the resources that you have at your disposal to try to get this team back on track. And so I segue to this. Nick Sirianni deserves a lot of credit. He's had more involvement with the offense the last 2 games. That's led to nice changes and adjustments the last 2 weeks. Philadelphia, you got to keep it up. Instead of, after that Bears game, just sticking with what they've done, which hadn't worked, they've done what we've wanted them to do. They've adjusted, and they've made some necessary changes. Now it's time for them to keep that up, to master it, and continue to play smart, clean football like they did against the Raiders. Season low, 3 penalties, 0 turnovers. Gotta love it. Don't forget to give me a follow on X, Instagram, and TikTok. Hopefully you enjoyed today's show. I'm also giving you this types of content on my social media pages. Just started that TikTok page, and it's popping. Appreciate y'all.